The funny thing is he's under contract with ROH as this whole WWE run is happening, and he's supposed to appear at their shows. I'm not sure what the status of that is. I haven't heard yet, but he does have
If
a
you knew it was the
contract.
other way around, if he was under WWE contract and tried to go to Ring of Honor, you know what would happen with that, don't you?
Right, better is they're actually okay with using him, although they know he has obligations with ROH, and that's rare. That's something Vince would never do before. But he's not gonna go to TNA. He knows that. From what I gather, he knows that going there is gonna sit really bad with WWE, and he doesn't want to offend Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon to a certain extent. He just feels like going to TNA is basically the end of his run with WWE, and he does want to stay with WWE. But they're trying to get around the whole retired gimmick that they did. They're trying to have him claim he's gonna do street fights, and just because I'm retired, it doesn't mean I can't fight. Have him say things like that. But
I don't want to see him fight either. He's not a fighter. He's a wrestler.
right. That's another good point. And I don't know where this is headed, but I have the feeling that a good storyline would be him continuing to cost Batista matches, perhaps to the point where Batista gets a little mad and maybe turns on him for a heel turn.
He seemed a little ticked off this past Monday night when Flair said, this is what I'm going to do, and Batista's like, dude, hang the boots up. Seriously.
And not only that, why are you interfering in my business when I'm trying to become champion?
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of a seed planted there, and let's see how far they go with it. But yeah, that's an interesting story to look forward to. And now, hey, speaking of taking care of business and Ric Flair, I remember, I don't know if you were a fan at the time, but at WCW they always used to bring Ric Flair back when ratings were bad, and they would always claim that he doesn't draw, that he's a terrible worker, he's past his prime. But they would bring him back when ratings were bad, and they would, of course, get high ratings. This past Monday night's rating, guess what? 3.6. Going back up. So, hey, Flair equals ratings.
I guess so. 3/10 of a point higher, too, if I remember correctly. And you're exactly right. They're using them for the ratings because they know they're hurting so bad.
So, hey,
I can't really blame the WWE for that, though. It's kind of a smart move.
it is. And especially if Flair wants back so badly, you do have to kind of, follow up with what he wants. He is one of your biggest legends, basically. What are you going to do? Hold him back?
More people watched Ric Flair's return on Monday Night Raw than they did ESPN Sports Center at 2 o'clock in the morning. Did you know?
Yes. Did you know that ECW is the highest rated show on Sci-Fi for 33 weeks in a row?
To be honest, I don't think I could name another sci-fi show.
I'm surprised ECW beats that one repeat of the Twilight Zone that they have every night at 2 a.m. But apparently it does. Anyways, WWE is having I know you're excited for this for their next pay-per-view called Extreme Rules. They're going to have Big Show and John Cena go at it because we need to have that over and over. We need that match every month. They're going to have that match take place, and what did they do? They took a terrible match at Judgment Day, probably the worst match on the card, and instead of just letting go of the storyline, moving on, what they decided to do is redo it, and this time make it even worse by making it a submission match. So now the story of this is, Big Show is so big, you see, that John Cena can't get his STF, he can't get it locked in, it doesn't work on Big Show, he's too big, and we're supposed to completely forget that he's done that before, that he's gotten the STF on Big Show before. I guess Big Show grew, or Cena got shrunk after he went through that spotlight. And that's the whole idea of the feud now, is that Cena can't submit Show. Your thoughts on this?
I'll blame you, Eddie, because you called him Superman on our last show, and now he's doing Superman-like qualities. Somebody needs to give him some kryptonite immediately.
Yeah, that was my fault.
Mickey Jane.
I'll take I'll take the blame for that one. Me and Mickey will take the blame both.
This is going to be a god-awful match coming up with Extreme Rules.
Yep.
And I thought Backlash was usually the one pay-per-view every year where you got regurgitated matches from WrestleMania. But no, I guess Extreme Rules is now playing the lackey to Backlash. Because every match so far that's been made is nothing but a Judgment Day repeat. And they're only making them worse.
Let's look at that. Tell me what else is on there. We have Big Show and Cena. We have Batista and Orton in a cage match.
Yep, and there's some matches that were
announced on SmackDown. So what were they again?
It looks like it's going to be Edge and Jeff Hardy again in a ladder match.
That's a good one.
I mean, that's okay. I can.
I can watch these guys on every pay-per-view, and I won't get bored.
Yeah, And what else has been announced? Let me think. Rey Mysterio and Jericho has been announced as well.
I can win that match again too.
And that's in a no holds barred match.
No holds barred. Okay.
Yeah.
You know where this is headed to. The storyline. It's gonna be title versus mask eventually when Jericho wins the belt.
Oh yeah. And then guess what else we get to see?
What is it?
CM Punk versus Umaga.
Wow, I feel like I haven't seen any of these matches before. Are they really doing all the same bouts again?
It's so fantastic. I want you to hear this because apparently, by the way, if you don't want to be spoiled by SmackDown, mute it for just a few seconds so you don't have to listen to what's about to come up. But apparently on SmackDown, Umaga comes out and attacks CM Punk. And then he gets on the microphone, Umaga does, and in English, plain English, says that he wants to challenge CM Punk to a Samoan strap match at Extreme Rules.
A Samoan strap match.
In English.
Yes. Samoan strap match. Wow. You know, I gotta get your thoughts. Now that we're speaking of this, I gotta get your thoughts on this. What did you make of CM Punk getting killed at Judgment Day? And I mean killed by Umaga.
That was definitely a squash match. I don't know. I'm losing a little confidence in him right now, especially holding the briefcase. And they're going to have to do something to get his character turned around real fast because you can't be squashing somebody that has, leverage in a briefcase.
And in his hometown, it's Chicago. It's the first match of the card. He gets beat so bad. I mean, everybody figured, okay, this guy's coming back at the end and winning the title. He's cashing in his briefcase. That didn't even happen. He didn't come out. He was just nowhere to be seen after that defeat. That was it for him for the night. So I don't know what happened there, but man, I know they want to establish Umaga, and he really needed to win because he's coming back, and they want him to be this huge heel, and he's a big guy. But you gotta establish CM Punk just as bad. The faces on that show are just very, very low in numbers, especially with Undertaker's schedule and Mysterio's injury, and I guess Mysterio is doing okay now, but. I mean, Jesus, and Hardy's contract situation, which I still have no update on. We'll see what happens there. But anyways, since we're speaking of Big Show and Cena and how great that match is going to be, WWE wants to torture us by having a whole pay-per-view just with submissions. So that's the idea they've been messing around with. We posted on the side, and you guys might have read. This could work for certain wrestlers, but man, I mean, really? Like Kane in a submission match or Big Show in a submission match? Your thoughts?
It's going to be terrible. We talked a little bit before the show, you and I did, about how submissions they simply just faded away. And other than John Cena's STF, maybe Undertaker's Hell's Gate, I can't think of any submission that is used on a regular basis that people would even tap out to. If you think back in the history, we were talking about Bret Hart's sharpshooter, Chris Jericho and his Walls of Jericho, the Crippler Crossface, the Indian Death Pin, maybe it's the leg lock, and we had the figure four, and we had just several different
Kurt Angle's ankle lock.
And you can lock them on at any time. Yeah, the ankle lock. You can lock them on any time, and they would tap out within an instant. And we haven't seen that at all lately.
Yeah, submissions have been a thing of the past, it seems. And, it kind of... The WWE is really getting into this theme pay-per-view period where, they have Extreme Rules, or we have Night of Champions, or we have Cyber Sunday, and, all these pay-per-views have a certain theme to them. And I don't know if a submission pay-per-view is the best way to go. And they sent out a little survey here for their subscribers to fill out and get back to them for some feedback. And they had like ideas for the name of the show, Submit and Quit, WWE Submission, and it was just some terrible names, by the way. But
which of those four did you like? The four names they had were Total Submission, Submission Sunday, Breaking Point, and Submit and Quit. Which one do you like the most?
None.
None?
No, I think
I would say I would like Breaking Point.
Yeah, but you have to stay away from that terminology, especially if you're a PG company.